And now from Chicago, the XINSURANCE Grand Prix, the Nationals right here, Race World Offshore, the World Powerboat Race Association bringing racing back to the Windy City. It's been about 15 years. First time I was in Chicago in 1992 up at North Point. There was racing, but now coming back right into the heart of the city, just north of Navy Pier at Montrose Beach and Lincoln Park. And today the world are going to see some of the fastest powerboats here in Lake Michigan. Todd Swafford along with Eric Colby. Eric, this is a big time event with some fast powerboats are going to race here on Lake Michigan in front of the fans of Chicago. It's a great sports town.
Yeah, I can't think of a better way to spend Labor Day weekend in the Windy City. I'm in my happy place because I'm at a boat race, so I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys run.
And this is quite a spot for powerboat racing. And a nice basin here around the Montrose Beach and Lincoln Park, a huge seawall where fans can line up on Lake Michigan overlooking the downtown and watch the races.
Oh, it's like an amphitheater looking over our shoulders here. I mean, the water's wide open. We've got great conditions today. It doesn't look like it's going to get windy. So I think the conditions are going to be outstanding.
Yeah, it's amazing weather here. We're just 5 weeks removed from Michigan City, Indiana, where it was similar weather, low relative humidity, a little bit more breeze than we had in Michigan City. It was coming in off the north. Today we're looking at about an east wind, which is running along the course. It's an east-west course here off of Montrose. Winds east at 5 miles an hour. Temperature as we went on the air was building up from 70 degrees. It was about 65 degrees this morning. In fact, we've been running around, in long sleeves and jackets quite a bit, especially for a lot of us from Race World who are from Key West. But the weather's been perfect.
Yeah, you can't complain about that. I mean, people will get their dose of heat when we go back to Clearwater at the end of September. But for this weekend, let's enjoy the 70 degrees and nice fall weather here in Chicago.
We got some great shots of the course provided by X Sports. It is here producing this live stream for you and out on YouTube at the X Sports channel and also the Race World Offshore channel, as well at Race World Offshore's Facebook page. We'll be back here tomorrow. Today we're going to open with qualifying, and the Pro Class 1 boats will open up. And then later today we'll have a Super Cat race of 6 laps, and then the Pro Class 1 boats will go get be taken out of the water, craned out of the water. They'll refuel and they'll race a 6-lap race. Then all of our bracketed boats that are here, as well as a couple of other boats in national classes, will race during these events. So we'll have 3 races today, and we'll come back with more racing tomorrow. But qualifying is going to open up here with the Pro Class 1 boats that are here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real treat for the fans who are going to be here to see Pro Class 1 and Super Cat run both days. That's not something you always get on a weekend. So to see the fastest boats in the sport run Saturday and Sunday, and that's how we're going to determine, from what I understand, a cumulative winner for both days, then these conditions couldn't be better for how these guys want to run.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm looking forward to, is just seeing them fly across the top of it.
They're going to run more laps tomorrow, but it's going to be equal points for each day, and they'll combine those points to determine the overall winner of the XINSURANCE Chicago Nationals. 2 races left in the National Series before the teams head to Key West for the Race World Offshore World Championships the first week of November. Speaking of the Pro Class 1 teams that are here, in just a few moments we'll be hearing from Britt Lilly, who was down in the pits talking to Tristan Garvin a little bit earlier. The XINSURANCE South boat, which he teams up with Bill Pyburn, they set the water on fire in Michigan City.
Yes, they did, and they served notice that they're here to play serious now in Pro Class 1. They were a good team, and they're still a great team in Super Cat, but now they're contending in both classes, so they're going to be a duo to watch all weekend.
Yeah, they set the fastest lap in Michigan City and won both days there.
Yep. Yeah, that victory hall, they've got it figured out with the team down at the Dirty Money Shop, and Bobby Adams and TJ Rand and all the crew have been busting their tails to get 2 boats ready to go, and to make them run up front is no small feat.
Well, Tristan Garvin caught up with Britt Lilly down in the pits, and we'll be doing pit reports with the X Insurance sports team throughout. But Tristan did catch up with Britt Lilly just earlier this morning.
So this is the business end
yeah, it's
of
probably
these
one of the
awesome
most important
machines.
things we have.
2200 horsepower. You can have
we
multiple
carry
different
around 20
setups.
Sets of
We
props
choose
with
the
us.
Mercury
These
6
three cabinets are all
static
full.
drive. They do not
Propellers.
move.
Basically on
we
this
have a
end of the
rudder.
case,
This is how
we
you
start
steer
with
the
bigger
boat.
pitch,
This is
which would
basically
be
our
like a
rudder.
higher
This is
gear,
made
so
by
run
Latham,
faster. So
and it's a
we
full
go from the
system.
bottom up,
There's
and
actuator arms on the
we
left and
change
right,
diameters,
hydraulic steering.
which
So as you
either
steer the
changes
boat
lift of the
to the
boat,
right,
diameter, set it down on its rear end, a bigger picks the back end up, so it lets it run flatter, or vice versa, carry the nose. Most of these props are done at half pitches, so we can fine tune basically on 100 RPMs, where a full prop change pitch is about 200 plus RPMs. This case right here is basically full of a mixture of Mercury and Herrings. Those are the two brands we all run in the offshore racing. We can pull one out, and this is a Herring. They look like a piece of jewelry after they get finished and sent to us. Very sharp edges. This prop's a higher rake prop. It's an 18 degree, 16.5 diameter. Basically a typical setup we'd run on the Super Cat on a normal flat water day. As it gets rougher, we go to a lower rake prop, which acts almost like trim. So as you go down on the rake, it lays the nose over. So instead of us having to trim the boat as hard, this prop will automatically put the nose over, make the boat run flatter. So as you get in big water, it's gonna try to fly flat all the time. This prop's gonna carry the nose, which in big water, you don't wanna be doing this the whole time. Yeah, so the pricing on these, the Herrings, they're around 16.5 a set, and the Mercury's are around 12,000 a set. So a little difference in price, but a little difference in material that they use, and but both great props.
So this is the business end of these awesome machines. 2200 horsepower, you can have multiple different setups. We choose the Mercury 6 static drive. They do not move because we have a rudder. This is how you steer the boat. This is basically our rudder. This is made by Latham, and it's a full system. There's actuator arms on the left and right, it's hydraulic steering. So as you steer the boat to the right, the rudder moves to the right, steer to the left, the rudder moves to the left. Pretty simple, but a lot of technology goes into just making this big hunk of metal. It's been shaved, tuned, and it's very, very sharp. The height of this rudder, depending upon the running surface of the boat, the height will determine how much bite we actually have when we go in with our prop selection. So if we needed to drag and dig a little bit, we'll drop it down. If we got some smooth water, we can bring it up and actually make it run a little bit faster.
They ought to be. Just come to me if you need to, and we'll talk. Give me a 5-second count. All right, we're back here, Todd and Eric, as we get ready for the Pro Class 1 teams to start qualifying here. Again, you're watching the X Insurance Chicago Nationals, last of 2 national races for Race World Offshore as we get set for the Key West World Championships coming up. Let's talk about qualifying right now. The Pro Class 1 boats are going to come out. There are 4 teams here in Chicago. They're going to have 2 shots, Eric, at qualifying laps, and the fastest speeds will determine the starting grid for later on today.
Yeah, what they said this morning in the driver's meetings was as soon as they get rolled out of the course, they want them to run a lap or 2. Then they'll slow them down, and then they'll send them officially determine who gets on the pole position for the inside lane. And for the last couple races this year, that's made the difference. Whoever had that pole position at the start used that to their advantage.
So counterclockwise course, as you mentioned, and that's, you know, that's similar to Key West, and actually the starting procedure for this 4.7-mile course will have the boats milling around on the far south turn number 5. There's 5 pins. There's 3 pins on the east end. It's roughly it's a wide sweeping turn on the east side, and then the boats come back down towards the shoreline in front of the beach here at Montrose, and then down towards Lakeshore Boulevard here on the shoreline, Lake Michigan in Chicago. Turn to the south, a 90-degree turn at the number 4 over to number 5 on the southbound leg, and then on that outbound leg all the way out. 4.7-mile course. Again, this is qualifying laps, so you'll see the boats come out here momentarily. We heard that there was a holdup at the cranes, and they'll do probably a couple of warm-up laps, then they'll get themselves set up for the qualifying laps. As we see some of the boats coming out of the basin right now, out of the wet pit area, the Pro Class 1 teams here. So if you
want to do the lineup?
Yeah, let's talk about the boats that are here racing in Pro Class 1.
Okay, number 3, XINSURANCE South is Britt Lilly driving and Bill Pyburn throttling. It's a 47-foot victory. Number 6, Monster Energy, 43 skater. Owner Tyler Miller is throttling. Myrick Boyle is driving. Number 11, XINSURANCE North. JJ Turk is driving. He's out of Cocoa Beach, Florida. Nick Buis from St. Pete. And 32 GC Racing / MTI, Willie Cabeza from Pinecrest, Florida, is driving. He owns the boat. Grant Bruggeman, Sarasota, Florida. Grant's Custom Rigging is on the throttles.
Okay, we're going to go to a video now from the pits with Dirty Money.
Not yet.
Okay, there they are.
Burger. Oh my God.
Well, go.
In here, I'm with the Dirty Money / XINSURANCE team. You guys are supposed to be out on the course right now, testing, qualifying.
I just saw the boats pull out.
What's going on?
Unfortunately, in testing, it's pretty gnarly out there, so caught a little wave, snapped a stud in the rudder box, so rudder's loose. It's unsafe to run the boat like that. Guys are thrashing back here behind me, getting it all back together. We're going to miss qualifying, but we can make it happen from the outside. So we'll be back in the water shortly, and we'll be starting in lane 5, I guess.
Hey, I mean, really, it looks like everybody's getting everything back together. You guys should be...
It won't be long.
Well, good luck. We'll see you out there.
All right. Yeah, tough luck there for the XINSURANCE South guys. Yeah, the Dirty Money team.
You never like to hurt a propeller, especially if it's one of your favorites. They don't grow on trees.
No doubt about it. So for our fans here in Chicago, of course, we've got great coverage from the local television channels, and you may be just tuning in for the first time to Offshore Powerboat Racing. Of course, our fans globally that watch us, you know these boats so well. But the Pro Class 1 boats that we're going to be watching for qualifying are these are big catamaran hulls. It's 2 sponsons with a wing between them. They compress air between the sponsons down the tunnel to get extra lift. And these catamarans are anywhere from 40 to 47 foot canopied boats, but they run spec engines. They all have the same engine in them. You won't find that in all classes of powerboat racing, but in Pro Class 1, everyone runs the quad cam 4-valve turbocharged Mercury racing engine, the spec engine for Pro Class 1 racing.
Yeah, you do have some differences in drives. You can run the M6, which a couple of the teams do, or you can run the BPM surface drives. There's been some rule changes that were made this year in terms of the number of props that you can have given the drive system. And then the BPMs, you can do an easier gear ratio change than you can with a number 6 Mercury. So there's pros and cons of each.
The number 6 boats can run a tunnel tab, and so folks that are used to watching the Formula One series and DRS, as you can use when you're trailing a car by a mile per hour, you get an advantage maybe on a pass. That's about as close as you're going to get to anything in auto racing here. They can use the tunnel tabs, and only the number 6 drives boats in Pro Class 1 can use those tunnel tabs. Talk about that.
Yeah, because if you have a rudder in the middle of your boat between the drives, you can't have a tunnel tab there. That's where the rudder goes.
Watch the Monster Energy boat that will deploy that tunnel tab. The number 6 drives. This is a 438 skater. We have skaters, victory hulls, and marine technology hulls racing here today in Pro Class 1. A couple of warm-up laps for the Pro Class 1 boats before they go out on the qualifying lap here. These boats can top 130 miles an hour in great water. Here it's a little bit bumpy out there today.
Yeah, I think that's just how much there was.
XINSURANCE North team with J.J. Turk and Buicks.
And they're in an interesting situation because they're a number 6, but the number 6's drives are fixed with the skegs cut off, and they still have the rudder, so they cannot use the tunnel tab on that boat.
XINSURANCE with several teams that were represented here, not only in Pro Class 1, but up and down the ranks that we'll see over the next 2 days.
And Nick and JJ just broke the dam-to-dam record in a different XINSURANCE boat, covering, I think it was like 190 miles in an hour and 17 minutes. So they averaged like 150 miles an hour. That's got to be pretty fun.
Yeah, well, it was kind of fun listening to JJ tell that story this morning. It really was. So interesting. As you take a look at that, the MTI hull of XINSURANCE North heading off. Again, these boats will be doing 2 runs. They'll take their fastest lap. These are our warm-up laps right now. And it looks like we'll only have 3 boats qualifying here this afternoon.
Is that yesterday?
Like, how does he not run Walmart? Like, I could go into Walmart 50 times, but...
Yeah, so the XINSURANCE
Hey,
South,
Parker,
did it take
when you
them
see
out?
me pointed down at the water
It's a
at the back of the
possibility.
boat,
I mean,
obviously,
it's really tough. You know, it's tough in these situations. You got to set these boats up for speed.
Right.
Um,
And then come back in an hour and have them set up for competition for
Correct.
racing.
So it sounded to me like Britt said that they might be resigned to taking the outside leg. They're working
Okay.
on their issues, and if they have time, they will try and get back on the water, is what we're hearing. So XINSURANCE South working through some issues. We talked about their outstanding performance in Michigan City, and that's definitely a setback for them heading into today's qualifying.
Well, the nice thing about this course and only having 4 boats is they'd only be in lane 4, so they wouldn't be way outside at the start. And
Yeah, and you're definitely going to get a chance to spread out if you have seen the course, and you can find it at raceworldoffshore.com on maps. There's a long run on the outbound leg there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they'll be able to just hold it wide open and just play with the trim to try to find the best setup. And as we see the boats coming down the backs, this is the front leg coming just off the seawall. So if they get too close to the seawall compared to those buoys, they're going to get some rebound waves that they might not be looking for.
amazing shots of the Chicago skyline here. Another look at that's Imcon, Tyler
Monster
Miller,
Energy.
and Myrick Coyle, a skater.
That started life as a rudder with surface drives, and they had so much experience running a 388 skater with the number 6s, 3-time national champions. They just liked the way the boat handled, and they said, you know what, let's switch it over. No small engineering feat, but skater pulled it off for him, Douglas Marine up in Douglas, Michigan.
Yeah, in the off season, pretty impressive that between the end of the season, start of the next, they were able to get that work done to the transom of the boat.
Well, where there's a will and a budget, there's a way.
Yeah. And if you're good friends with Peter Ledden, as Tyler Miller is,
Yep.
the loyal customer of Skater Powerboats.
And even though we don't see XINSURANCE South out here, we would like to say happy birthday to Britt's daughter, Stella Rogue, who celebrated her birthday a couple weeks ago. Always loved the family element of the sport.
Yeah,
So,
always so great to see Stella's smiling face.
and Britt's father was just honored with the Art Lily Memorial Poker Run that raised money for Alzheimer's down in Maryland. I think it was last weekend or maybe 2 weekends ago, but a good turnout for the first annual event. And I'm sure more people will go to that in the future. Okay, X-Insurance has had a rudder issue with the South X-Insurance South, the number 3 boat. So they likely will not be out for qualifying, but they are trying to rectify that to be able to run later today in Pro Class 1.
And back to the original point, I mean, there's about a 2-mile run. So if they get those boats up and get them started properly, and they're running, into the rougher part of the course, starting at the outside might not be your complete deficit here.
No, it's the longer way around, but if you can hold your speed and hold your momentum, especially through that more of the sweeping turn, which is 1 through 3, you can hold speed there pretty well.
Right on the east end, we see for the first time in the background there briefly the 482 Marine Technologies Hull.
The black and fuchsia.
This is also an MTI.
Yeah.
An older MTI.
Yeah,
It's raced in Abu Dhabi for years, and that's where John Tomlinson and Gary Ballou raced it to a world championship. And Randy Sissom came up with that brilliant configuration you talked about, with John Tomlinson to mix the number 6 with the rudder.
Right.
And there we see Willie Cabeza and Grant Bruggeman's.
Looks like they might be going first.
Yeah, they didn't do a warm-up lap. They looked good earlier when they were doing their practice runs. The MTI hull did.
Yeah, and we know that Randy Sissom, the founder and owner of MTI, is here and in support of his team. So always good to see him on site at the races.
Monster Energy came into Pro Class 1 racing. The GC Racing team looks like
They're on the clock.
They're on the clock. Not on your screen right now, but
Right.
they're going to take the first qualifying lap. GC Racing Marine Technologies. We're in Chicago, the X-Insurance Chicago Nationals. There we go.
Here we go.
We get a wide shot. Now they're heading on the outbound leg towards turn 1, 2, and 3, the wide sweeping east end turn.
So they're going away from the city, basically.
Correct. Out into the open part of the lake. Probably about 3/4 of this course is out past the shoreline. The inside of the course, the west end, is protected by Montrose Beach, Lincoln Park. Into a cove, lots of marinas dotting the shoreline here in Chicago.
Yes, this is a boating mecca. Lots of sailors here. The Chicago to Mackinac Island race is one of the more famous sailboat races here. This looks like Monster running on the course now, and you can see them getting a little bit of air, so it's not flat, but it's doable. The boat is spanning the waves well. Tyler's in control, working the throttles, working that tunnel tab. They just raced an airplane last weekend in Lake of the Ozarks at the shootout, and
that's an important nuance to those maybe watching for the first time. You have 2 pilots on board, one controlling the wheel, the steering wheel, and the other controlling the trim and the throttles.
Yeah, because every time that boat comes out of the water, you want to pull back a little bit on the throttles so you don't over-rev the engines. Here's the MTI GC Racing, and Grant Bruggeman is handling the throttles and the attitude of the boat. They control, with using different mechanisms, how the boat flies, how it goes across the top of the water, and the goal is to have it level and have that rooster tail coming out as flat as it can rather than going up. But that's a good attitude for that boat.
Classic Marine Technologies livery well done. Matches their factory stock boat, which we'll see racing tomorrow here. And now the Monster Energy team approaching their qualifying lap from the X-Insurance Helicam.
And as soon as we have the numbers, we'll let you know, so you'll know what the qualifying lanes are for the first race this afternoon. Sometimes it's nice to just let the people hear the roar.
Nothing like the sound of these engines. This is the Maximum Inflation live stream. Our presenting sponsor, new Maximus Quick Tire Inflation Kits by Maximum Inflation, the only U.S.-made valve that uses CO2 cartridges for your side-by-side motorcycle or ATV. Your machine got you there. The Maximus Quick Tire Inflation Kit gets you home. Qualifying here in Pro Class 1, the X-Insurance Chicago Nationals. Race World Offshore doing a magnificent job putting on this event. What an undertaking in the city of this size, and the cooperation received throughout the city has been much appreciated. We're expecting huge crowds this weekend here at Lincoln Park to see powerboat racing for the first time in about 15 years. We go overhead again from the X-Insurance Helicam. GC Racing out of Miami, Florida.
That's one of the bigger boats in the class. It's 48 feet.
Yes.
But its profile makes it look so sleek. You're a little deceived until you see it up close in the pits. So if you want to come down and see it, that's one of the great things about this sport. You can walk through the pits and see the boats up close. You can meet the drivers. You can meet the owners. It's got an NHRA feel to it more than, say, a NASCAR or IndyCar. It's that open.
X-Insurance North's getting ready to start its qualifying lap, so all three boats should be out on their qualifying runs here in just moments. This should end GC Racing's qualifying lap, so you can see us in the background there. There's the shoreline, gives you a really good idea of the spectator area to watch from here at Lincoln Park, Montrose Beach. If you head back in towards Lakeshore Boulevard, Lakeshore Drive, there it is, GC Racing, their two qualifying laps. Grant and Willie, way to go.
Yeah, we'll probably head back in now, go to the get in line for the crane.
Yeah, so now they'll get the boats on the crane. They can put more fuel in them because they wanted to run light in their qualifying lap, and they'll race after Supercat coming up next. Looks like Monster Energy, Tyler and Myrick will be wrapping up their qualifying lap here.
We may have been a little early in our discussions. That may have been their warm-up laps.
Okay.
And JW was just saying that they're going to now get ready to qualify.
Was that their warm-ups? Okay. So we'll get another couple of laps to see them run. They went for warm-up laps. They went at it pretty hard.
Yeah,
I thought.
I'd say the engines are warm.
Yeah, I'd truly say so. Now, it definitely looks like Monster Energy. Yeah, Monster Energy finished up their two runs. Todd and Eric here with you. X Sports YouTube channel, Race World Offshore's YouTube channel, as well as Race World Offshore's Facebook page. From the Porte Products Broadcast Center, Porte Products builds the ultimate outboard transom lift system, boasting horsepower capacities up to 1,000 horsepower per engine and carrying up to 1,500 pounds of weight per engine. Let them build one for you at PorteProducts.com. X-Insurance North.
Now, you think about this team in this boat. Nick Buis has been at this for a while, founded Statement Marine, builds boats, but J.J. Turk in 3 years went from an open cockpit bracket 500 boat to his first enclosed boat in a Mod V, and then the curve went straight up, and he's now in a Class 1 boat driving a catamaran for the first time and doing a darn good job. So hats off to him for the dedication he's shown to the sport.
Yeah, and the fast track to being fast. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he just got to drive 150 miles an hour on Lake of the Ozarks in a turbine-powered catamaran. So he's living his best life, I'd say.
There we see the X helicopter and the X North in frame here in Chicago, qualifying for Pro Class 1. These big boats can get up on top of the waves.
Yeah, they'll span it pretty well. This isn't going to bother them. That boat's got a nice attitude right now. There's, obviously the less boat in the water you have, the less resistance and the faster you're going to go. So Nick's just finding that sweet spot between control and no control and having the boat do what they want.
GC Racing trying to get a qualifying time. MCON's was 2:53.62. 2:53.62.
Okay. Be curious to see how that matches up.
We're back to X Insurance North and their qualifying run. So it appears that GC Racing has not gone out on their qualifying lap yet.
Okay, so MCON was first and X Insurance North is second, and then GC Racing will be the final boat. Okay.
There's a little bit of a hole right there, it seems
Yep.
like. The boats, as they approach where the shoreline starts, they get a bit of a hop there, Eric.
Yeah, I've noticed that during testing this morning. A couple of boats, when they'd come off of the turn at the far end of the course coming towards us, there's a little bit of an area where the seawall kind of juts out, and then right when they get past that, there's a little bit of a hole. So they'll be aware of it for the next time they go out, or when they come and make their first lap. On the second lap, they'll make a mental note. It's kind of like that trench in Key West Harbor coming into the harbor.
There you see the Chicago skyline.
Yeah, that's pretty.
The backdrop of Pro Class 1 racing here in the Windy City.
Think about what that boat went through in Key West a couple of years ago and where it is now back up and running.
All right, we got a correction on that time. Was 2:51.23 for Monster Energy. 2:51.23. Immediately following qualifying here in Pro Class 1, our Super Cat race will commence. 6 laps today, 12 laps tomorrow. 5 teams here in Chicago. As the X Insurance South team works on problems with their rudder, they're putting the Dirty Money Race team with Britt and Bill Pyburn in the water. The reigning world champion. CR Racing, Graydell Rolling Transport, EWB Racing will be out there today in Super Cat. And Kelly Crace of EWB, he's a Chicago native.
Oh.
Yeah, he's making his hometown haunts when he was here this week. We'll talk about that later. As we look at X Insurance North, wrapping their qualifying lap. X Insurance North, 2:51.23. That's MCON. Okay. So, all right, so just getting these qualifying times correct. Monster Energy was 2:53.62, so my original comment was correct. X Insurance North with the best time at 2:51.23, and apparently GC Racing, when it did come through, and it did sure look like they were trying to qualify, 3 minutes and 0.58. So X Insurance North with the best qualifying time will have the inside line.
They've had a good couple of weeks between the dam to dam run and now being on pole for the Chicago Grand Prix. Congratulations to Nick and JJ.